Everybody, what's going on? Welcome to Fantasy Hockey Picks and Bets presented by Prize Picks right here on the Mayo Media Network. I'm your host, Chris Meaney, not riding solo today. That's right, it is indeed a happy Friday. We have Cam Stewart hanging by, 2 games to break down in the NHL. But first, I want to talk about Prize Picks. If you're just new to this show, listen, we appreciate you finding it for the first time if that is the case. We want you to subscribe to the Mayo Media Network. All three of us here, Cam and Maddie Best, we were just talking about all the great content here on the Mayo Media Network. So if you were subscribed, you're going to get the content right away. And there's other people on this network giving great prize picks. So if you're new to prize picks, you can mix and match across all the sports that you love. I always say this, they are all happening. They really are all happening. Golf here in the weekend. We have NBA, NHL playoffs. There's a handful of games around the diamond in baseball, and you can just mix and match across all the different sports. If you use the promo code, the link inside the description of this video, a 100% first deposit match for first-time users. So check that out and have some fun here with Prize Picks. There's a lot here that they have to offer in the NHL, despite there only being 2 games. They have shot props up already. There'll be some save props a little bit later on in the day. So I'll circle back here if you have any questions before puck drop. So there's a couple that stand out to me, very similar from game 1 between the Montreal Canadiens and the Winnipeg Jets. I talked about Kyle Connor and Tyler Toffoli. I'm going to come off Toffoli a little bit, but I like Kyle Connor here at 3.6. And I also like Jeff Petrie. I mentioned Jeff Petrie in Wednesday's video, but first let's talk about Connor. So against the Canadiens this season, he's got 7 goals, 11 points in 10 games, 30 shots on goal. He had a goal on 4 shots in game 1. He played 23 minutes. He has at least 3 shots in 6 of his 10 games. Why 3 shots? Well, why am I bringing that up to? Because over at Prize Picks, the shot prop is 3. So get that push. If he gets to 3, going to get a lot of ice time here with no Scheifele in the lineup. I like the over 3, and I like the over 3.6. This is a guy who's coming in pretty hot. 7 goals, 11 points over his last 8 games, at least 3 shots in 7 of his last 8 games as well. So give me the over on Kyle Connor at 3.6, and give me the over on Petrie at 3. We talked about him on Wednesday at 2.9. I don't think I sold it enough. There's a difference between playing the Leafs and playing the Jets. Montreal, their defense, not really holding the puck, having to defend all the time. Things are a little bit open here against the Jets, and you saw it. In the first round against Toronto in 7 games, Montreal's defense had 2 points. They had 6 in game 1. They were able to open things up a little bit. Petrie's got 15 blocks, 18 shots, just the 2 assists. He had an assist in the last game against the Jets. So I like him at that point. I think he can block a couple of shots, get some power play time. If he gets an assist, we're definitely going to get there. And then if you wanted to get a forward, it would be Toffoli at 3.4, 6 points in 8 games, his last 8 games rather. And just against the Jets, he's been good. 10 points in as many games, 29 shots, and he's got 15 points over his last 20 games and 18 points over that span as well. So lots to be had at Prize Picks, including the shot props. Max Pacioretty's at 3, Marchessault is at 2.5, Connor at 3, Rantanen at 3.5, Makar at 2.5. I like the over on all of those players. So check out prizepicks.com and follow the link inside the description of this video. Let's get after today. Cam Stewart, happy Friday, buddy. What's up, man?
Meaney, nice to see you. I haven't seen you since the old Leafs collapse there. Me and Matt Best still not too happy. But anyway, hey, we get used to disappointments. When you're a fan of the blue and white, you're always used to disappointments and getting let down. But I will say this. You talked about mixing sporks, and what are you going to do this week? You might have a few beers. I'm not going to say get into the Coke rack, but Jason Coke rack. Whoa, yeah. He got it done for all our golf fans out there. Thank you, Coke rack. When I lost money on the Leafs, you came through to replenish my account with good golf monies. Meanie, I love what you're saying about Kyle Connor, my friendly ginger friend for the Winnipeg Jets. I expect him to do some really good things. University of Michigan product. He's one of my favorite players on the team, and great call by you. Without Scheifele, he's going to have to carry the load. I know Ehlers is a sniper, but Kyle Connor's one of those guys. If they want to stay in the series, this guy's going to have to put up some points and lots of shots on net because they're running into a red-hot Carey Price, and let's see how Vegas responds. I think they were a little bit snake-bit in the last game. Bad calls against them. Let's call it out for what it is. The ref, that was a horrible call in overtime. Also, Grubauer played great, but he also got lucky. If you watch the game, there was a lot of bars there. So I expect the Vegas Golden Knights, they're going to throw everything at these guys. Full capacity in Vegas for this game. Great series, meaning we got some 2 games tonight, but they're awesome games. And yeah, let's make some money, buddy.
Listen, that penalty in overtime was
brutal.
Absolutely trash.
It
was trash. I watched the entire game, and they were letting everything go. They were letting most go, and then in overtime, with Rantanen one hand on his stick and his slash, Riley Smith wasn't preventing a goal. Like there was no
Mhm.
scoring chance on that play. So just keep your whistle in the pocket. It's just, man, it really did frustrate me. And when's the last time that, we saw Colorado get outshot? They were outshot at 5-5 in that game, 35-13. They were dominated. Like Vegas brought it. A little bit of puck luck, you're right, for Grubauer, but that penalty was just, it was infuriating, man. I was very frustrated watching, and you and I chatted before. We were on Vegas in the puck line in the under. We already had it. It didn't matter.
Exactly.
We were frustrated from a betting standpoint. It just from like an NHL, like these two teams are playing each other. And I just don't like to see the refs, be the reason that a team wins in overtime. And that clearly was the reason. Colorado's power play is unbelievable. And they went on the PP and they scored. I do want to get your thoughts though on the Leafs. Because you guys are both Leaf guys. You and I were both on them. They collapsed yet again. I want to get where they go from here.
We're not going to be pulling the Craig Button 4 games. We said it was going to be a tough series. It's probably I thought it was going to go 6, and a lot of people like 7. Like, I didn't think Montreal was a pushover. You talked about the games that they had. They were a tired team during the regular season. They never had their full assignment of players. Also with the new coach, lots of moves. They had Carey Price not playing his best hockey. Allen stepped in and did, in my opinion, did a pretty good job. Jake Allen, he's a guy that I like, but now you're running into the hottest goaltender in the league. Here's the thing about the Leafs. I don't want to be like everybody else, but the bottom line is there has to be a second gear. When you play sports in the regular season, that's one thing, but in the playoffs, it's different. And you can look at guys like Nathan McKinnon, and they have other gears. They can take their teams on their back. I have no problems with Austin Matthews in a regular season. Mitch Marner, he's a guy's a ghost. You talk about the heart of a grapefruit or the heart of a raisin. And right now I look at the Leafs, and I hate to say this, but when I look at them, Meaney, other than I don't see them as tough men, like Ryan O'Reilly and the rest of these guys. You need the playoff grit that I still think they lack. I think Muzzin was a big loss to their blue line, but It's just one of those things. Their stars didn't show up. Nylander and Jason Spezza were their best players. That can't happen. That can't happen if you're the Toronto Maple Leafs. Matt and I are used to disappointment, and here, the bottom line is, I'll give Montreal credit. Montreal is a team that got better all the time, too. It's not just about the Leafs choking. Montreal became a team that looked horrible and better and better and better. They ramped up. These Canadians now, Meaney, are like nothing like they were at the regular season or at the start of the playoffs. They are a team peaking at the right time. They got each other's backs, and it's scary right now. You know what? The Leafs, they just got to get tougher, though. They need these guys you have to have a different gear. That's the way I look at it. The loss on to Muzzin, Jack Campbell played great. Nothing on the goaltender. If you think it's his fault, you weren't watching the games. But you know what, Meaney? I don't know. You play hockey at a pretty high level. I just look at this team and I say, there's just something missing there, and it just comes down to, I guess, will and toughness.
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I want to have that conversation. I'm really not trying to troll you guys. I just don't know. We could never have predicted that Tavares and Muzzin were going to leave. I mean, with those guys at full health, we could say, maybe this series does go differently. But I think we do have to give a little bit of credit to the Canadians. I thought they were better in game 1. I thought they were better in game 5. I thought they were better in game 6 and game 7. Now, halfway through game 6, the Leafs turned it on, especially in third period and overtime. That could have been over if it wasn't for Carey Price. But the thing that shocked me the most in that series, and in looking back, and you guys know that I'm a Canadians guy here, and I don't bet with my heart at all. I still think to this day, the Leafs are the better team.
Yes.
We've had this conversation numerous times on this show that maybe Montreal is the better playoff team. You look at just both sides, and the Leafs not being able to get over that hump, and space not being there, and time not being there in the playoffs. It's not a random Tuesday and a back-to-back playing, a backup goalie. It's not the regular season. It's different, and these guys need to show up. But I look at some of the Leafs moves and what they did in Dubas, and bringing in Thornton and bringing in Spezza, bringing in guys who have had experience in Thornton. But in the other side, Montreal did the same thing. But all of the guys that they brought in had been there before and won cups. Toffoli, Edmonston, Harry,
exactly.
Stahl. Those guys had all the pedigree in the playoffs. I don't know where the Leafs go. I have no idea. But the thing that shocked me the most, and I want to bring in Matty Best here, is the effort level. I was shocked that it wasn't there. It didn't seem to be there. The urgency, fine, go to game 6 and there's fans in the Bell Center. You got to expect that Montreal's going to come out hot, and they did. And the Leafs turned it on there. But game 7, they almost played like they were – I felt like they played scared. I felt like they played nervous. They were afraid to go into the corners. They were shying away from some of the hits that they took from the entire season. Maybe that built throughout the entire round, a 7-game series, nobody had more hits in the regular season than the Canadians. Maybe that has something to do with it, but I felt like this team was playing a little fragile. So I have no idea where they go from here. Maddie, a lot of people talking about trading Marner. I think you have a terrific talent in Mitch Marner. He makes 11 million. That is the problem. He hasn't scored a playoff goal in 17, 18 straight games. That's the issue. I don't think trading him is the answer. You have to try to find a way to make it work with him. But Matt, where do the Leafs go from here, man?
It's tough because you think about, like you said, all the offseason moves. They addressed the grit. They addressed the depth. They brought in David Riddick to be that extra backup goaltender. They bring in Nicky Foligno. They have Wayne Simmons. They have Joe Thornton. They have Jason Spezza. And you think, okay, they finally have all the grit that can get them past the first round. And then they don't. People are comparing this to the Boston collapse and saying like, oh, how haven't they learned? Well, they haven't learned because this is a completely different core. So that argument is just completely invalid. To me, if you're trying to look at this like half glass full, maybe this devastating exit is what makes them a harder playoff team next year. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is the actual adversity that they needed to face. That's half glass full. Half glass empty is, here we go again. This is the same shit over and over and over again. And how the hell do you fix it? Because Dubas tried the avenue of bringing the grit, bringing the toughness, bringing the guy who immediately shit-talked your team 2 years ago and said they were so easy to play against down low. Like, he addressed as much as he could. So I really don't put this on Dubas because he basically listened to what every single media member in Toronto said to do. And that was to bring in the tough guys and to bring in the experience. And he did it. And they didn't pay him back whatsoever. With Mitch Marner, you can't trade him right now. Yeah, you trade when their value is normal or when their value is high. If you trade Marner now and he goes off and scores 100 points in a regular 82-game season, every Leaf fan will look at Kyle Dubas and be like, what an idiot. But those are the same Leaf fans that went, yeah, we got to trade Marner right now. And the third thing is, don't burn your jerseys. You're just an asshole if you do that. That's so stupid. And people say, well, it's my property. I can do what I want. It's like, yeah, you can. It's a free country. You can do whatever the hell you want.
You
just
might want it back one time.
Yeah, just know you look like a complete asshole doing that. But to answer your question,
we'll get off this Leafs topic, but the bottom line is this, Meaney. It's like, when does the disappointment stop? But the thing, it's also another thing is like people look at these guys like a Colorado franchise. They're above average, but they're not great. They're not as good as Boston. They're about, the Islanders will beat them down in a series due to toughness. Carolina is better than the Leafs. Florida's better than the Leafs. The Tampa Bay Lightning are better than the Leafs. There's this perception of like when you come out with odds at the start of the year and then the third choice, that's a joke. That's a straight up joke. They are not the third best team in the National Hockey League. They're closer to like 9. So, or even deeper. Like, so don't tell me about these guys being one of the best teams in the league. They're okay, but they're still not as good as these other teams, right?
Yeah, I agree.
They're better than they are.
Yeah, I think to be honest, they're slightly overrated. From a Vegas standpoint, there's really no question that they are. We can move on from them. I think the thing is the contract for me, and you see teams like Tampa, and I know taxes are different and things like that, but Hedman and Stamkos and Kucherov taking that bridge deal when he got 4.75 for 2 years or whatever, that guy should have got 9 or 10. Right. I mean, he took the bridge deal. Marner didn't take it. And now I feel like they're strapped for cash. Frank Cervelli was on the Daily Faceoff podcast talking about how Hyman reportedly wants $6+ million, offered 5.16. Like, come on, right? And you hear McKinnon. You like Hyman, sure, but are you giving him 6?
No.
McKinnon, and McKinnon's talking about how he's willing to take a discount because he wants to keep the core together and be competitive. That's the type of stuff. Unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be happening in Toronto, and they're strapped for cash now. I mean, Riley's going to need a new contract in another year or two. What are they going to do on defense? Are they going to trade one of those big guys? So another season of just full questions. I feel like a fool. I apologize to FTN bettors, subs forever. I was like Leafs after game 4, like as brutal as Montreal was, I was like Leafs 5, Leafs 6, Leafs 7. And I wish I didn't have the blinders on because I could sit back and say, okay, one team is built for the playoffs and they are used to winning the game 6s and the 7s and the upsetting, and one team can't get over that hump. But here we are in round 2, and we're talking about Montreal and Winnipeg. And that's a surprise to me because I thought we'd be talking about Edmonton and Toronto. So let's just just get into tonight. I didn't want to tick you guys off the top, but I wanted you guys are just honest Leaf guys, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it because I'm hearing all kinds of nonsense.
No, there's a lot of nonsense going on, but here's the thing. If you can get a defenseman like Seth Jones, we'll start talking about giving away top assets. But anyway, let's move on to Montreal and Winnipeg tonight there, Meaney. This should be a great game, buddy. Want to get your thoughts. The Canadians are hot. It's hard to get in front of these guys.
Yeah, they're feeling it right now. They're playing some of their better hockey. I think they look like the team that, in the first month of the season when they were healthy and they had some of those pieces and they had strong goaltending and, people were calling them juggernauts, which they're not. But they are playing their best hockey right now. You said it. They're getting strong goaltending from Cam. I was going to call you Cam Stewart.
Cam Talbot.
Cam Talbot. They're getting strong goaltending from that guy. What's his name? Carey Price. And their top four defense they've been really good. I've been impressed with them. They're eating up a lot of minutes. Weber, Petrie, Sherratt, and Edmondson, they're playing good, and they're getting strong defense from the Deneau line, who held Marner and Matthews to 1 goal in 7 games. So tonight it's basically a pick 'em. You can get the Habs at ftnbets.com using that free parlay calculator at plus 100. The total here is 5.5. So no Mark Scheifele. We kind of just talked about that off the top. He's not going to be there. He got 4 games for that, Cam.
Surprisingly.
That suspension. Thoughts? Yeah, surprising because you normally don't see a superstar, especially in the playoffs, get that kind of treatment in terms of just 4 games.
Yeah, they like me and Blessing, our show, we talk about we're knuckle dragging Neanderthals who still enjoy hockey fights. And hey, I like big hits. Like Cal Clutterbuck laid out Carlo last night. That was a clean check. The thing that I look at the Scheifele plays, it's an end-to-end play. I can understand people can say he can go for the poke check, but I think a lot of people, I think it was bad, but more people think it was worse, I think, than what I thought he was going to get a game or two. I think just because it was a straight up charge and he laid him out and it just looked bad. And in today's hockey and the softer world that we're living in, it's a suspension. Some people called it egregious, like one of the worst plays they've ever seen. Slow down. You don't even, do you watch hockey games? When you hit a guy from behind and almost break his neck or try to break a guy's leg is worse than that. It looks a lot worse than it was. I'm surprised at NHL's safety department. I thought he'd get a game 2 max. The fact that they're giving him 4, they were listening to people in the uproar, Meaney. I don't know what you feel about it. I think 1 or 2 would have been fine, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, I thought 1. I thought maybe. I thought maybe 2. I did not think 4. I did not think 4. I'll say that. It's a tough play because he is skating back to try to prevent a goal. He was clearly frustrated, though. If you watch the game and you're just watching that highlight and you think, okay, wow, he's not moving his legs. He stopped skating at the bottom of the circle and he just kind of blew him up. I think he could have prevented the goal with his stick, and that was part of it. And you could hear that in the explanation from the NHL, and that he could have prevented the goal, and he clearly just wanted to blow up Evans. But he was also frustrated in that game, and I don't know if you can count that, but that's why he wanted to blow him up. I mean, he just had a couple minutes before that, he just had something with former teammate Sherratt where he just absolutely lost his mind. He was agitated the whole game from a guy like Deneau not giving him any offense. So he was frustrated, and it's a big loss because he led their team in ice time. Yeah. He does so much for them offensively. And I don't know if Paul Stastny's going to play in this game. They've got nothing from Pierre-Luc Dubois. I don't think really at all since the trade. He's been underwhelming, in my opinion. And they lost Dylan DeMello, who's on that top pair. Matthew Perreault and Adam Lowry left at moments in that game. So this is all of a sudden it's kind of turned a little bit, but I think we'll see a much better effort from the Jets here. They hadn't played a game since May 19th, so they were off for a lot of time. I know Colorado was off, but they're just a different beast, right? But at 5-on-5, Cam, this was a game that was just heavily dominated by the Canadians. Shot attempts in their favor, shots on goal in their favor, scoring chances in their favor, and they had 7 more high danger chances at 5-on-5. Do you think the Jets bounce back here? I don't think they do. I think they give a better effort, but I think they're in trouble.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mark Scheifele for Clamato. If you want a Caesar, come down and see me. I like the works.
Dude will be sitting on the couch for the next 4 games with that Caesar.
Hey, everybody, have you tried the works in your Clamato? Anyway, yeah, you're going to be sucking back some Clamatos. Anyway, I don't know what you're going to do. You can't step in front of Montreal right now. I look at the Jets, obviously a better effort, Meaney. Yes. But I can't get in front of Montreal. They're the plus 100 team here. Carey Price is feeling it. It's tough. I think it's going to be a very tight game, but I got to take the dog in Montreal here. The total, it's interesting. Like
Yeah.
And the Jets, you brought up a good point, and don't think people talked about the weakness of the Jets defense. We could have been making margaritas and clamatos in front of the net. Like Connor Hellebuck was sitting there. I'm like, where the hell's the defense? Like, it was unbelievable. Like, for a playoff game, I'm like, a forward cannot have that kind of time in front of him. I don't blame Hellebuck. Those were tic-tac plays, like bing, bing, bing. And they score goals like that. The Jets defense has to be better. They hung them out to dry in that game. Sure, you're going to have to get some goals. You're going to have to shoot on Carey Price and try to get a guy in front of the net and get some deflections, because if he sees it, he's going to save it. Right now, I look to the Montreal Canadiens, Meaney, total at 5.5. I don't know what to do. I'd probably lean under with the goaltenders, but I like the Montreal Canadiens as a dog.
Yeah, and the Jets defense has to be better, but I don't think it can be. Like, this is the team this is what we talked about all year. They were top 3 in just giving up high danger chances and scoring chances. Nobody had given up more high danger chances or scoring chances in the first round. Same deal here in the second round. Nobody has given up more. And it was Hellebuck who had an unbelievable, was a 950 save percentage in round 1, and 3 games in overtime. He was able to stop everything. His goals saved above expected average was number 1 in the NHL in the first round as well. He's been the reason. And then they lose DeMello, who's, he's not a great defenseman. He's not fantastic, but he plays in the top 4. He's on the top pair. Now, what are they going to do? They're going to put Jordy Ben in there. So I don't think the defense is going to get any better. Like, when I look at both teams, I think it's almost a wash when it comes to Price and Hellebuck. We can call it a wash.
I think Price is a little bit better, but yes, it's close to a wash.
Okay. And then the forwards group, I think we got to give the advantage to Winnipeg. They got more snipers.
Yes.
But the defense, I think there's a massive difference here.
I agree.
Absolutely. There's a massive difference. So I think there's a little bit more structure. I lean with the under as well. I had the under in game 1 is completely wrong there, but Cam, I was looking back at all the games between these two teams, and you would think with the goaltending that we would have seen a lot of unders.
I know.
6-3, 2-1, 4-3, 7-1, 4-2, 4-3, 4-2, 5-0, 5-3. So 8 of the 10 games, we've seen at least 6 goals. 6 goals between these two teams. But with that said, I think I'm leaning under 5.5 here.
I'm leaning under too. Like, Montreal doesn't want to get into a track meet tonight. They know they don't play that way. They know they have a better defense, right? So you score the first goal and you play good systems. Like, what do they do in the Leafs in game 7? I'm like, wow, they're just shutting these guys down. We talked about the lack of effort, but Montreal's defense has really, really picked up their game. They score first. That's big problems for the Winnipeg Jets. I lean under too, but I got to take Montreal, Meaney. I'm riding your Habs again. I like them in this series. A lot of people just assume that the Jets are going to walk all over these guys. Well, it's not that simple. Montreal's on a heater right now and they're peaking, and that's a scary thing. Once you start to love the guys you're with, you got their backs, and they just seem like a family out there that's having fun playing hockey and playing at an intense level.
Yeah, I mean, they all came out there for Evans, and it was heated. I've never seen Weber so heated. It'll be interesting. Yeah. I mean, especially with Joel Edmondson's comments, like, if he doesn't get suspended, we're going to take care of him, like that kind of stuff. I don't know. It could get real nasty if this does go 7. I was on the Canadiens in 7. I still feel like this series is not over. There's no question. Montreal has a history of upsetting teams and then kind of flopping in the second round. I think we'll see a strong effort, but I'll lean here with the Habs in the under. From a shot prop standpoint, I'm looking. I mean, books have Connor and Ehlers pretty juice. You can find Nikolai Ehlers at a decent price at 2.5. I think those are the guys for Winnipeg. I would go with them. I don't think you can really trust any Montreal players. I mean, Gallagher does seem like a bit of a shooter at 2.5. I could maybe get behind him. Suzuki in some spots is 1.5. What a phenomenal goal I thought he scored the other day.
He's been great.
But 1.5, like, I don't think you can trust Toffoli or Suzuki to get to those shot props, or even Caulfield. So I would go with the Jets guys. And as we transition over to Vegas, what worked out on Wednesday was riding Ehlers with Theodore and Connor with Pietrangelo. Those were 2 parlays that hit. I think that's what my focus is today. The two Winnipeg snipers that are going to be shooting, going to get a little bit more extra ice time. Scheifele likes to pass a little bit more on that power play too. So we could see a power play for the first time all year that has Connor and Ehlers on it together. So I think that is that's a boost for those 2 guys looking forward. Okay, so I don't think there's anything really else to add from that. Let's go to the next one here. Colorado and Vegas. Yes, the Avs are up 2-0 in this series. And I like I said, I thought that I wasn't really surprised. And I'm sure you had the same mindset that we were going to see a strong effort in game 2 from Vegas.
That's the thing. Like, people are just lining up to bet Colorado. I'm like, no, I'll take Vegas on the puck line, a little sprinkle on the money line. And hey, Meaney, we got it done in that game. Here's the thing. For people that didn't watch that game, Vegas was the better team in game 2. We're telling you, they got hosed on a penalty call that cost them the game. They're at home. full capacity of fans, desperate, down 2-0. Like Carolina needed to beat Tampa Bay. They found a way to get it done. It was ugly, but they got it done. Vegas, on the other hand, I think it's going to be an opposite. I think they come out in the first period. I like Vegas first goal in the game. I like Vegas first period. If you want to attack it that way, I know you play more props than I do, but I've been doing this a little bit more now, thinking what team needs the first goal. Like last night, Carolina first goal. They got to score first. They get the first two. Tampa gets two. They win in overtime thanks to Aho. Thank God. Thank you, Aho. I needed that so bad. You have no idea. I won me a parlay. I was like, thank you. Carolina, if you lose tonight, I'm going to snap. And by the way.
How about Rod Brendamore with the Stones that go in Mrazek?
I agree. And Ned didn't play bad. It wasn't Ned's fault. You guys lost 2-1 and 2-1. That's not on the goaltender, but big Stones by Brendamore. And here's another thing. I have a message for Tampa Bay and their fans. I don't understand this team, and I've been talking about it. Kucherov is one of the dirtiest players in the league. This guy is a nasty slew footer. Why isn't the NHL referees watching it? Every shift he tries to break somebody's legs, and Eric Chernak has the dirtiest elbows in the league. They are a dirty, dirty, dirty hockey team, and I'm going to put it at that. Right? I don't know if you agree with me, but
I agree 100%.
They are the worst, dirtiest team, and no one talks about it.
Dude, no one talks about it at all.
I know.
You got me fired up. I saw two Habs and Bolts live games at the Bell Center.
They're unreal.
And I saw the crap behind the scenes.
Oh, I know.
I've said this numerous times. I think Kucherov is one of the dirtiest players in the entire league.
The dirtiest. He is the worst.
I've said this so many times. He is such a baby, too. The series against Tampa Bay, well, remember, he got suspended. Right? Why did he get suspended against Tampa? Against Columbus. When Columbus bounced him in the first round and then they had the revenge the following year, he was so chippy in that series where he got suspended. The same thing I saw last night, the hit on, what was it? Was it on Pesci or was it on?
He did it like twice.
He did it on twice. He got the penalty, which I think towards the end of the third, which led to the goal. Was it the overtime goal? It was the overtime goal that led to Aho's goal, where he was holding onto the stick and he was hooking somebody right kind of in the midsection, and then he's complaining to the ref before and after it was already done. Yeah, he is a chippy hockey player. I've seen it live in person behind the scenes. The slew foots are absolutely
honestly. If I was somebody on Carolina, I'd rearrange that guy's face. I'm sick and tired of seeing Tampa Bay and stuff, and they're a great hockey team, and I love Point, I love Killorn, I love all those other guys in the team. Kucherov, you're a dirty prick, and you got to stop doing that stuff. Like I can't believe the refs aren't even onto this thing. Remember the Sabres when they played these guys? It was up in for Sweden for that European tour. Soroka never played another game in his career. He was a good player for the St. Louis Blues. They ended his career. Chernak's out killing guys too. And it was not clean. Like I'm just saying, like. They basically just slapped around the Sabres like it was an MMA fight. Like they got away with everything. Anyway, I'm just happy Carolina won. Meaney, let's get back to business. Sorry, I didn't realize this was ripping Tampa Bay Lightning radio, but I like the Lightning players, but I do not like Kucherov. And guys, pay attention to this guy. He is a cheap shot artist. Next. The Vegas Golden Knights. They got to get it done tonight, Meaney. Big game. I'll take first goal and I'll take first period. I'm all in on Vegas. And hey, Grubauer's been good for Colorado, but I think they solve them tonight. They get a little bit of puck luck. Stone and the rest of the leaders on this team. I think Alex Tuck's a guy that I'm looking at. I think he could have a big game. I like Vegas. I'm not sure about the total. Maybe over. You don't really want to get into a high-scoring affair with Colorado, but it's one of those things where I think Vegas kind of explodes early with a couple goals, and you're not going to keep the Avalanche off the scoreboard. But the big play to me is the Avalanche are favored. I get it. Everyone thinks they're unbeatable. Vegas is still a damn good team. Give me the home dog. I'm surprised. I think the wrong team's favored.
Yeah, I agree. I think Colorado's just going to be favored the rest of the way. That's just what it is. Like they're just going to be favored no matter what. I mean, it's always only 2 games. We can talk about other things. I mean, you do have me fired up about Kucherov.
I'm so angry. Like I say these things and like I do the show game, but like no one responds to me. It's like, don't you guys see how dirty this guy is? He's so dirty.
I've seen it for years. Yeah, he's nasty with his stick and this
and skates. Like he does a lot of things to the lower half of your legs and stuff. Like refs, be on this guy. He's a real snake.
I know. I want to get your thoughts on what Vegas did in game 1, starting Robin Lehner. Was this a case of Fleury playing, a lot of games, 7 games, maybe being tired, a little bit older? I'm sure if you asked him, he would have been wanting to play game 1. But I was looking into the numbers against Colorado. So before the loss in game 2, he was 4-3 against them. He had 2 shutouts. He had allowed 2 or fewer goals in 4 games. And 5 of the 7 that he had started had gone under the number. So here we are. Now he's 4-4 against the Avs, 2 or fewer in 4, 3 or fewer in 7 of the 8. So he's limited the best offense in the NHL, 3 or fewer in 7 of 8. That's all you can ask for a goalie against Colorado. And in 6 of the 8, under. What was the deal with Robin Lehner in game 1?
Well, here's the thing, Meaney. Say me and you were coaching, right? Look how long it's been. Like, I understand Fleury's tired, but I don't like the move by DeBoer. It's like you got a guy that's been playing good. I get he's older, but Robin Lehner hasn't playing meaningful hockey in a long period of time, and you're throwing him in against the best team. That's the problem. It's not like he played like a couple days before. It was a long layoff, and you're going up against the best. I didn't agree with the move at all. And I'm not just saying that in hindsight. Like, it's true. I was like, this can't happen. I like Lehner as a goalie, but meaning he came in there cold. He wasn't ready to go. And they also played a horrible game in front of him. There was a lot of factors, but you can't have a goalie with that kind of layoff just stepping up. Okay, guys, I'm ready to roll. It's not like he played a couple nights before. That's the issue that I have.
Yeah, I thought maybe they were just kind of like, that saying, throwing to the wolves, like Colorado was off forever, and then Vegas played that hard-fought game 7. Maybe they thought in the back of their heads, like, oh, no, this could be a very ugly game. Let's protect Fleury here and just chuck Lehner in. But Pete DeBoer loves Lehner. Like, the whole organization loves this guy. They went and acquired him. They gave up assets to get him. I get Fleury's a little older. You want a goalie of the future? Okay, fine. I think Leonard's slightly overrated, in my opinion. Yes. And then they lock him up and they give him that contract. And then last year they wanted to ride with Leonard throughout the playoffs after Fleury had brought them to the Stanley Cup Finals, who has cups, is a first ballot Hall of Famer, who's an unbelievable goalie. And they didn't want, even this year, to start the season, they wanted to ride Leonard. Leonard got hurt. They fell into Fleury, and Fleury should be a Vezina candidate. I don't even know if
I agree.
It's Grubauer.
Yes, he is. It's Grubauer, Fleury and
Vasilevsky. Yeah. And I think he's been one of the better goalies in the entire league. He's been awesome. So I just think it was unfair. I was just thrown off with that, but
me too.
Vegas in the over, I think, to your point, as much as these two teams have played under and tight, I think we are going to see just a very similar game from Vegas that we saw in game 2, a team that dominated the shot attempts 60-37, the shots 35-13. Yep. The scoring chances 23-18, the high danger chances in favor of Vegas as well, a little bit tighter, but I think it's you have to. Right? They have to give their best effort tonight, come out strong. I think taking them to lead after 1 is a good play by you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, first goal, lead after 1, we'll do both. But hey, if Colorado goes in there and plays a perfect road game and wins, I get it. That's why the line is, that's why they're favored, right? But this, the bottom line is, this is Vegas' season. They go down 3-0 to Colorado. They're already toast. They're probably going to lose the series, but this is a must-win game. And I expect them, and I think they got snake-bitten game 2, meaning they were the better team. If you watch the whole game, they should have won that game. So I'm going to come back to them at home, full capacity, game 3. Give me Vegas, lean to the over.
I like a lot of shot props in this game, but as I said, I'm going to stick with those 2 Winnipeg snipers and pair them up with Pietrangelo and Shea Theodore. But I think, for those who are north of the border or in the New Jersey area, Bet365 this morning, I saw Max Pacioretty at 2.5. That's going to change pretty quickly. He had 4 shots, I believe, in the last game, and he's going to be shooting. Yeah, He's only played 3 games, and he's got 4 shots in 2 of the 3. But I think, Theodore is just, from a shot prop standpoint, he's hitting every single game but 1. He's got 65 shot attempts, which is the 3rd most here in the playoffs, and he's got 31 shots on goal. So he's the guy that I would go to first. You mentioned Tuck. I think Tuck could have a big game as well. But I think all these Vegas guys are going to be shooting quite a bit. I would go to them before Colorado, but I'm also seeing in some spots Rantanen at 3.5. I don't mind that. And Cale Makar at 2.5. Cale Makar has been plus money here throughout the playoffs to just get an assist, as so has Landeskog. Those two I think are interesting if you want to go that way. Or Pacioretty plus 175. Use the free prop shop over at ftnbets.com. You can get Pacioretty plus 175 to pick up an assist tonight. That's pretty good. I know he's a sniper, but an assist I think is certainly doable. I don't know if there's anything really else to add. Maddie, do you have any thoughts on either of these 2 games tonight?
I'd like Vegas here for sure. I think Vegas is my favorite play, and I do like the under in Montreal, Winnipeg. That's basically all I'm going to have tonight.
Okay.
Do you agree with my Tampa Bay rants there, Matty?
Oh, yeah, I love those Tampa Bay rants. And like you guys said, Kucherov just slides under the radar.
Yeah. I got Carolina plus 460 in the series, down 2 goals, too. I have a lot invested in this damn team. And I'll tell you one thing, man, you better watch out, Russ, for what this guy's doing all the time. It's not just about my bets. Watch this team play and watch Kucherov closely. He's a magician, the dirty stuff that he does. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm a coward. I hedge the Hurricanes Cup future with
don't call yourself a coward. Money's
Tampa.
money, man.
Yeah, I did it with Tampa. I'm a little concerned with Carolina. I
am too.
Slightly concerned heading into this series. Hey guys, Nashville gave them a go.
Yep.
Preds gave them
Locked on Predator. Let's give
go.
Predators some love.
They gave them a good go, man. They haven't had a lead. I don't think that Carolina's had a lead in a game since Game 4.
No,
they've won the overtime games, but they haven't had leads. They haven't had leads in this series, and they had a lead. Well, they had the lead in the last game, but up until that, it had been a couple games of just playing from behind. But the reason I'm slightly concerned is, Trocheck has to be healthy, because all of a sudden now you have 2/3 of that second line, which had been so good down the stretch. And Niederreiter, who's done. If Trocheck doesn't play, it leaves them a little bit thin. And then I think Vogel left yesterday.
Yeah, it's a problem.
So they're all of a sudden thin up front, and Tampa's looking like, the defending Stanley Cup champs. They just, unfortunately, Vasilevsky is just, unfortunately, I say unfortunately for us that we're all in on Carolina. Yes. Vasilevsky looks awesome. Kucherov looks great. Slewfoot and everybody, but he does look good. Stamkos looks healthy, and Hedman is playing more than anybody.
It's true. It's true.
Unfortunately. I want to end on a sour
you need
note.
A couple stars on Tampa Bay to go down to even up the series. I can't believe Carolina's luck with the injuries too. But
I know.
Hey, kudos to Brind'Amour and Mrazek. That was a hard move to make, because it wasn't Ned's fault, and they got it done. At least they're back in the series. Yeah,
I know Ned would have, there's a couple goals I'm sure he'd like to have back, but he played Tampa great all year. He had a shutout against them. I think he played 5 games against them, and 4 of the 5 are 2 goals or fewer. He had played good. You lost 2-1 hockey games in Game 1 and Game 2. I mean, and you outplay them. But when you play Game 2 and you only allow 15 shots and you lose 2-1, I think something needs to change a little bit. So kudos to Brind'Amour for making that call. From a DFS standpoint, I am just playing Colorado and Vegas guys, but I am leaning more so on the side of Vegas here. I think that they come out hot, and they put a few pucks on net. I think they score. From a defense standpoint, I'm really just there's 4 guys in my player pool. It's Makar, Theodore, Petrie, and Pietrangelo. I think if you wanted to drop down on defense to maybe a Pionk or Morrissey, 4-9-4-7, these guys should play well over 23 minutes. 22 minutes for Morrissey in Game 1. Pionk played 29 minutes. My goodness. So that to me would, Pionk has got to be in the player pool. He's got points in 3 straight games. He could block 4 or 5 shots here with no Dylan DeMello. This guy could play a ton here tonight. So maybe drop down to him and save some cash. But I think the goalies to attack would be either Hellebuck or Carey Price. Are those 2 for me? Price is 7-9. Price is 7-9. Why not roll with Carey there? And you could find some value if you want with these Montreal Canadiens guys. You could game stack Colorado and Vegas. And then you can take some of the cheap guys in Montreal, like Caulfield 4.8, Perry's 3. Say what you want about Perry, but this guy's showing up. He's putting up points. He's only 3K. Kotkaniemi's got 4 goals here in the playoffs. He's 3.4. Tatar's most likely going to drop into the lineup here tonight for Evans. He's 3.8. He's going to play on that top line. So you can find the value in Montreal or Winnipeg if you want with Pierre-Luc Dubois, 3.8. Throw him in there, and then just spend up on some of the Colorado and Vegas guys. Any final words here, Cam?
Yep, I like to do my fun Friday parlay. So let's put one together, Meaney. Canadians money line, Montreal under, keep digging, 5.5. Vegas money line, and Vegas over 12.2. So we're talking over 12-1 here. I like that one. That looks good. Plus 12.27, solid. And let's get one without the total in that Vegas game. So we will do this one to plus 579. Montreal under 5.5 in the Montreal game, and Vegas to plus 579. Let's roll a couple parlays, buddy. Let's go. The Jason Kokrak monies, the Canadian monies, the Vegas Golden Knight monies. Let's have a great weekend and upgrade the meats on the barbecue, which I like to do. I hit the superstore hard, Meaney, with the Kokrak monies. Got some seafood, some rib caps, and finally I didn't get the loser bag of scallops, but the big Nova Scotia scallops the size of my bloody head.
Yes.
$29 a bag. Give me more.
Oh, buddy, I can't wait to have you on the East Coast. You'll be eating scallops with myself and Pat Mayo.
Nice.
Living large. Yeah. No, congrats to you on that big call. That is fantastic. Parlay Friday. Let's hit a couple. Any questions, hit us up, guys. You can reach out on Twitter or here in the YouTube section if you have any questions. Cam, always a pleasure. Maddie, thanks as always for running this show as smoothly as you do. And check out Maddie on the weekend as well. Mayo Media Network, man, pumping out content. Subscribe. Enjoy the hockey tonight. Have a great weekend, and we'll be back on Monday. Cheers.